The film begins with a young guy named Kazuya. At that time, he's 20 years old and studying business administration at a university in Tokyo. Now he lives alone in a boarding house and has been getting 1 million yen from his parents for his expenses since he started college. He's really happy because he has a girlfriend named Mommy, who is very beautiful and popular. Kazuya feels proud to show her off to his friends. But suddenly Kazuya's happy life takes a sad turn when Mommy tells him she likes someone else and breaks up with him. He felt heartbroken because Mommy was his first girlfriend, and she ended things just a month after they started dating. When Kazuya was feeling lost and unsure, he stumbled upon an ad on social media about renting girlfriends through an app. He could pick the type of girlfriend he wanted. Feeling hurt from his recent breakup, Kazuya decided to give it a try and randomly chose one. The next day, Kazuya waited nervously on a bridge for his rented girlfriend. At first, he thought the girl's picture might have been edited, but when he saw her in person, he was amazed. She was even prettier and sweeter than he expected. Her name was Chizuru, and she seemed almost too perfect for Kazuya, who didn't realize he had chosen an exceptional S-class rental girlfriend. Before they could start their date, Kazuya had to pay the service fee as per the rules. Their first stop was the aquarium, which was Chizuru's first time there. Kazuya had chosen it because he loved fish, and he excitedly shared with her the names and characteristics of the fish they saw. As a rental girlfriend, Chizuru was really good at her job. She made Kazuya feel comfortable by complimenting him and holding his hand. But once their time together ended, they had to go their separate ways and couldn't be part of each other's lives anymore, following the rules. At first, Kazuya forgot that he wasn't the only one using the rental girlfriend service. When he checked the app, he saw lots of positive reviews about Chizuru from other customers. He also realized that everything she did for him was just part of her job, following the agency's rules. This made Kazuya upset, and he left negative comments on her reviews, feeling like Chizuru was just playing with his feelings. The next day, Kazuya wanted to meet up with Chizuru again, so he hired her once more. But when she showed up, she looked different with a new hairstyle, which surprised Kazuya. Her appearance made him feel a bit unsure of himself. After paying for the service, Kazuya asked Chizuru if she ever felt bad about dating guys she didn't like just for money. But Chizuru told him she actually enjoyed her job, and she didn't mind showing affection for Kazuya in public. However, Kazuya knew it was all part of her job, just following the rules. Chizuru even went as far as learning about fish so they could talk about it. But despite her efforts, Kazuya felt uneasy. Chizuru didn't understand that Kazuya's behavior was influenced by his past breakup with Mommy. He really cared about Mommy, but she ended things with him. Unexpectedly, Chizuru suddenly took Kazuya to a quiet spot. There she let out all her built-up emotions towards him. She explained that she was just a rental girlfriend from the beginning, and it was her job to act like his lover. But all day long, Kazuya had been angry and saying confusing things. Chizuru stressed that if he chose to use a rental girlfriend, he had to agree to the terms. Then Chizuru asked why Kazuya had given her a 1-star rating in the previous satisfaction survey. She hadn't done anything wrong to him, and because of that, her rating dropped. There, Chizuru also warned Kazuya that if he wanted to ruin someone's work, he should do it elsewhere. Her words scared Kazuya, and he couldn't respond. He hadn't expected Chizuru to be so assertive. Despite this, Kazuya realized that it was all his fault. A little while later, Kazuya got a call from his parents saying his grandmother had fainted. He hurried to the hospital, and Chizuru had to come with him because she was still on duty. When they got there, Kazuya's grandmother was feeling better. She asked who the girl with Kazuya was. At first, no one thought Chizuru was Kazuya's girlfriend. This annoyed Kazuya because his family always underestimated him. Finally, Kazuya decided to tell them that Chizuru was his girlfriend. This shocked his grandmother and parents, and they couldn't believe it. Thankfully, Chizuru acted professionally and went along with his lie, confirming that she was indeed his girlfriend. At that time, Kazuya's grandmother, who had been sick, suddenly felt better when she saw Kazuya with a girlfriend as pretty as Chizuru. She knew Kazuya had never dated before, so she was thrilled and went to tell a friend. But Chizuru panicked because her own grandmother was also in the hospital, and she hadn't told her grandmother about her job as a rental girlfriend. Then, they hid under blankets in the next room. When they were close, Kazuya couldn't control himself and Chizuru kicked him until he fell. She made it clear they could never be a real couple. but their argument led both grandmothers to find them. At first, Kazuya wanted to come clean and tell his grandmother the truth. However, Chizuru interrupted because she didn't want Kazuya's grandmother to know about her job. After that, Chizuru asked Kazuya to find the right time to tell everyone they broke up. Kazuya shared about his grandmother, who had been in and out of the hospital and was once critically ill. After his grandfather passed away, his grandmother ran the family shop all by herself while taking care of her children and grandchildren. Turns out, his grandmother had a wish that she wanted Kazuya to find the right partner before she passed away. Kazuya also talked about his short-lived relationship with Mommy. He had hoped to introduce Mommy to his grandmother, but Mommy refused and broke up with him, leaving Kazuya feeling lonely. That's why he'd hired Chizuru half-heartedly, feeling like he was destined to be alone. However, he still hoped that one day he could introduce a real girlfriend to his grandmother. Listening to Kazuya's story, Chizuru understood how important it is to make family happy. When she got home, she noticed that Kazuya had given her a 5-star rating in his satisfaction survey. From then on, Kazuya planned to focus on his studies and live a simple campus life. However, he unexpectedly ran into Mommy, who seemed happy with her new boyfriend. Shortly after, Kazuya's friends, Sum and Kibei, teased him about being dumped by Mommy. But Kazuya didn't let it bother him anymore cause he was determined to move on. By coincidence, he bumped into a girl with glasses and braids, who turned out to be Chizuru. She attended the same university but was in a different department. There, Chizuru quickly pulled Kazuya into a room and urged him not to tell anyone about her identity as his rental girlfriend. She emphasized they didn't have a real relationship. Despite Kazuya's attempts to avoid her, he kept running into Chizuru, who happened to live next door to his boarding room. During this time, Chizuru used the name Ichinose to hide her true identity. The next day, Kazuya faced a dilemma when his grandmother announced she would visit his boarding house to meet Chizuru. Panicked, he rushed to Chizuru's room to ask for help, begging her to pretend to be his girlfriend again, even if just for a moment. At first, Chizuru refused outright. When Kazuya's grandmother arrived, he tried various tactics to get her to leave, like saying Chizuru was working part-time. But his grandmother insisted on staying, fascinated by Chizuru. She even played a game that resembled Chizuru while waiting. Meanwhile, from the next room, Chizuru was curious if Kazuya's grandmother had arrived. She decided to listen in from the balcony and heard Kazuya talking with his grandmother. Since her arrival, Kazuya's grandmother had noticed his strange behavior and suspected something was wrong between them. She realized Kazuya wasn't very popular with girls, but finding out there was a girl who cared for him seemed like a dream come true for her. Not wanting to upset his grandmother further, Kazuya planned to come clean about the lies. But before he could, Chizuru entered with some food she had cooked. She explained she was late because of that. Kazuya's grandmother welcomed her warmly, believing that Chizuru wouldn't leave Kazuya and that her wait was worth it. In the end, they managed to solve today's problem. Kazuya was thankful and wanted to pay Chizuru for her help, but she refused because she couldn't report extra work to the agency. After meeting Kazuya's grandmother, Chizuru softened up a bit. She agreed to let Kazuya rent her for just an hour every Wednesday, since that's when he usually visited his grandmother. Long story short, they visited Kazuya's grandmother on Wednesday. She didn't suspect anything about their act. When they returned home, Chizuru continued to hold Kazuya's hand, following the rules of being a rental girlfriend. There, Kazuya noticed other guys staring at Chizuru, and he couldn't deny she made the perfect girlfriend. But another problem showed up when Kazuya's two friends found out. They didn't recognize Chizuru as the same person as Ichinose from campus. They teased Kazuya, suggesting he might get blackmailed by her. Irritated by their teasing, he called Chizuru his girlfriend. Chizuru, with a forced expression, confirmed she was Kazuya's girlfriend. Hearing this, Kazuya's friends invited them to a drinking event. Chizuru, who had been holding back her emotions, finally expressed her frustration about Kazuya's lies and how they were now affecting others. There, Kazuya explained that Kibei was a childhood friend who was close to his grandmother, so he hoped Chizuru would understand a bit. When Kibei saw Kazuya with his new girlfriend, he introduced her right away. But they didn't notice Mommy was also there. Things got really awkward, especially when everyone noticed how annoyed Mommy looked. She felt upset because Kazuya had already found a new girlfriend right after breaking up with her. While Kazuya was in the bathroom, Mami deliberately started talking to Chizuru, saying mean things about Kazuya. Chizuru got mad at Mami for talking badly about her ex-boyfriend and not showing any sympathy for Kazuya. Then Chizuru asked Kazuya to deny what Mami said, but Kazuya seemed hopeless to it all. Disappointed, she decided to leave him right away. Later, when Kazuya was drunk at home, Mami approached him again. She wondered how he managed to find such a cute girl so quickly and didn't think Chizuru was a good girl. However, Kazuya stepped in to defend Chizuru, saying she was perfect for him. He didn't think it was right for Mami to speak badly about someone who accepted him as her boyfriend. Soon after, Kazuya hurried home to apologize to Chizuru. But Chizuru admitted she didn't think much of it because she was just a rented girlfriend, so it made sense that Kazuya cared more about his ex. Kazuya also shared that sometimes he felt like trash. On one hand, he was hurt by Mami leaving him, but on the other hand, he still hoped she would come back. Chizuru told him not to blame himself because he couldn't forget Mami, as she was precious to him. Long story short, the holiday came and Kazuya and his friends went to the beach. Surprisingly, Mami also joined them and still seemed interested in Kazuya. At first, Mami thought she could freely talk to Kazuya here. Meanwhile, Chizuru, using the name Ichinose, also happened to be at the beach with her friends. For now, nobody recognized her, but she was worried that Kazuya's friends might find out her true identity. Actually, Chizuru was only working as a rental girlfriend for her grandmother's sake. While they were arguing in the bathroom, Mami came looking for Kazuya from outside. Both Kazuya and Chizuru panicked, but he had to come out first. However, Mami was suspicious because she had heard Kazuya talking with someone from inside. There, Kazuya tried to come up with excuses to deny her suspicion. Eventually, Mami was determined to open the bathroom door. At the same time, Chizuru, who had also come out, appeared and had changed her appearance. Mami became even more irritated, especially when she saw how close Kazuya and Chizuru were. Then, while Chizuru's friends were talking to her, Mami suddenly asked Kazuya for help to find her bracelet, which had fallen among the rocks. However, Mami had a secret plan that she wanted to take advantage of the situation to kiss Kazuya. She couldn't accept that Kazuya was moving on from her so easily and wanted to ruin his relationship with Chizuru. But at that moment, he only had Chizuru on his mind, so he quickly left Mami. Later on the ship, Kazuya noticed that Chizuru wasn't feeling well and tried to show he cared. However, she wanted some time alone. While Kazuya was on a call, Chizuru felt sick and walked to the side of the ship. When a wave hit, Chizuru fell into the sea. Kazuya, who saw it happen, didn't hesitate and jumped into the sea to save her. After a while, Chizuru woke up on the beach with no memory of how she got there. When she saw Kazuya next to her, she realized he had saved her. But Kazuya was unconscious, and his heart had stopped, which frightened Chizuru. She quickly gave him CPR by kissing him to revive him. Thankfully, Kazuya regained consciousness, but Chizuru felt sorry for putting him in danger to save him. The next day, on their way to campus, Kazuya got bumped into by a high school girl who accused him of being a pervert without apologizing. Later, while heading home, Kazuya and Chizuru met soon. They soon told him he had a girlfriend now and invited Kazuya and Chizuru for a double date the following Saturday. Long story short, Kazuya and Chizuru met soon and his new girlfriend, Ruka, as planned. Kazuya recognized Ruka as the high school girl who had bumped into him before. Her cute and beautiful face caught Kazuya's attention, and he thought she was as pretty as Chizuru. For their date, they went rock climbing. At first, Chizuru tried to be friendly with Ruka by chatting with her. But then Ruka said something that shocked Chizuru, that she knew that Chizuru was a rental girlfriend. At that time, Chizuru tried to deny it and quickly told Kazuya. It was their first time meeting Ruka. Kazuya and Chizuru were worried that if Ruka told soon about Chizuru being a rental girlfriend, it could ruin her life. Kazuya was determined to do whatever it took to make sure Ruka kept quiet. After Soon left, Kazuya followed Ruka alone, but she had already noticed him following her. With no other choice, he admitted his lie, asking Ruka to keep Chizuru's identity a secret from Soon. Ruka was surprised by Kazuya and Chizuru's closeness and Kazuya's sacrifice to save her. However, when Ruka learned Chizuru was a rental girlfriend, she felt disappointed. Kazuya then made Ruka promise not to tell anyone by recording her voice. Suddenly, her heart raced, and she tried to leave but stumbled on the stairs. Kazuya quickly stepped in to protect her. It was then revealed that Ruka was also a rental girlfriend, so she knew Chizoru's identity. Afterward, Chizuru was annoyed and wanted to report Ruka to her agency, but Kazuya stopped her, fearing Ruka might expose their lies too soon. The next day, Kazuya waited for Sun to ask when he would meet Ruka again. Surprisingly, she showed up on campus and was teased by students. It seemed she was looking for Kazuya. Just as Kazuya was about to ask Ruka why she was there, Sun passed by, so Kazuya quickly took Ruka to hide. In an empty classroom, Ruka suddenly asked Kazuya to hug her and mentioned the number 79. Confused, Kazuya didn't understand what she meant. When Sun entered the room too, they hid under the lecturer's desk. Feeling cramped, Kazuya hugged Ruka, who was busy with her phone. The number on her phone showed 90 BM, and she felt relieved because her guess was correct. Eventually, Sun found them alone, and surprisingly, Ruka openly thanked him for renting her services yesterday. This revealed Sun's own lie, that he had used a rental girlfriend's services before. Kazuya couldn't understand why Ruka would reveal her identity and disappoint her clients like that. He then told Chizuru about the commotion Ruka caused on campus. A little later, Ruka approached Kazuya again, having followed him to his boarding house. She seemed disappointed to find out that Kazuya and Chizuru lived next door to each other. Ruka couldn't accept their close relationship. She promised not to tell anyone about Kazuya and Chizuru's relationship, including her job, on one condition: that she wanted Kazuya to be her boyfriend. Ruka confessed that she had never felt this way before, with her heart rate exceeding 90 BPM for the first time. It turns out that Ruka has a condition where her heart rate is lower than usual. While most people have a heart rate of around 70 to 80 beats per minute BPM, Ruka's is only around 60 BPM. This means she doesn't feel excitement like others do and often feels like she's living like a robot. Ruka hoped that experiencing love might change things, so she became a rental girlfriend. However, she never felt true love until she met Kazuya. Meeting Kazuya changed everything for her, proving that she's just like any other girl. At that time, Chizuru overheard all of Ruka's confessions to Kazuya. Kazuya initially thought high school girls like Ruka were just playing around, but Ruka was serious about wanting someone ambitious like Kazuya. She believed that if a relationship with a rental boyfriend like Kazuya and Chizuru's could be serious, then their real relationship could be even better. Ruka poured out her heart, realizing she couldn't force Kazuya to like her instantly. So she suggested they start with a trial relationship, as long as Kazuya wanted to turn it into a real one. On the other hand, Chizuru, seeing Ruka in tears, urged Kazuya to consider Ruka's feelings seriously. She pointed out that Ruka's emotions must run deep if she's crying like that. Ruka herself suggested being a trial girlfriend, leaving the final decision up to Kazuya. Since they started dating, Kazuya has been sleep-deprived, getting only about 3 hours of rest a night. This is because Ruka constantly contacts him, making numerous calls and sending dozens of messages every day. At that time, he feels like he's made a pact with the devil rather than dating. On top of that, Kazuya faces financial troubles, as he has only 200,000 yen left from his savings of 1 million yen. With his attraction to hiring Chizuru, Kazuya realizes he needs a part-time job to earn extra money. While lost in thought, Kazuya accidentally spotted Chizuru chatting with a good-looking guy. This made him wonder if someone as handsome as him would hire a girlfriend, and if a rented girlfriend could have a secret lover. Kazuya followed them, observing closely, until he thought he saw Chizuru almost being kissed by the guy, though she wasn't. Startled, Kazuya approached them but ended up tripping. Turns out Chizuru was just discussing a script with the guy named Umi. At that time, Kazuya had no clue that Chizuru was actually an aspiring actress. But acting school is pricey, so Chizuru works as a rental girlfriend to hone her acting skills. Umi is her actor friend who often assists her. After discovering that Chizuru is an actress, Kazuya feels even more insecure. He thinks their worlds are vastly different. Seeing him feeling down, Chizuru suddenly hands him a package. It turns out she asked Umi for advice on what to get for men, and the package contains a fish-patterned phone case to replace Kazuya's damaged one from when he saved Chizuru from the sea. There, Chizuru emphasizes that it's a gift, a way of saying thank you. Kazuya tears up, touched by receiving something from a girl for the first time. In order to make extra money, he starts working part-time at a karaoke place. Ruka finds out about his new job and applies for a position there too, hoping to spend more time with him. When Kazuya got home, he got a text from Chizuru asking him to meet her on his balcony at 9 p.m. At that time, she needed his help to hire a girl from a rental girlfriend app. The girl she mentioned was Chizuru's junior, who was new to being a rental girlfriend named Sumi. There, Chizuru explained Sumi was shy and some customers had complained about it. So she asked Kazuya for help because she trusted him. Hearing that, Kazuya agreed to meet Sumi the next day to help her out. When they met, Kazuya found Sumi to be very shy, but he thought she was sweet. At that time, Kazuya did most of the talking while Sumi seemed hesitant to speak, even though she wanted to. Then he suggested that Sumi practice smiling, but it was hard for her and ended up making her look awkward. Sumi seemed like she was mocking, but she didn't mean to. Without realizing it, Kazuya and Sesumi were seen by Mommy while they were together. Meanwhile, Sumi communicated through messages on her phone. She shared why she decided to become a rental girlfriend, explaining that she wanted to overcome her shyness. Kazuya, returning from buying drinks, saw Sumi being harassed by two guys. Then he intervened, standing up for Sumi and ignoring the insults hurled at him. This was the first time Kazuya heard Sumi's voice as she thanked him and apologized for the trouble. Despite the incident, he didn't dwell on it, and Sesumi gradually became more comfortable around him. However, their troubles didn't end there, as Mami was apparently following Kazuya. Sumi was curious about the girl accompanying him, but before he could explain, Sumi pretended to be Kazuya's partner. There, Kazuya realized it wasn't the right time for this, especially with Mami around, knowing that he was already involved with Chizuru. At that time, Mami believed that Kazuya was being unfaithful to her, unaware of the truth behind their lies. Since their breakup, she felt like she didn't know much about Kazuya anymore, especially seeing him with Chizuru before and now with Sumi. This made Mami think that Kazuya was actually quite popular. Despite witnessing what happened, she promised to keep Kazuya's secret as his ex-girlfriend. Later, Kazuya met up with Sesumi again and explained that she seemed too genuine to be just a rental girlfriend. Nonetheless, he appreciated her efforts to overcome her shyness, and Sesumi even managed to smile better than before. Meanwhile, Mami is still skeptical about Sumi being Kazuya's new girlfriend, so she decides to do some online sleuthing using Sumi's full name. Eventually, she discovers that Sumi is actually a rental girlfriend. On another note, Kazuya meets Chizuru again and shares the good news about Sumi, who enjoyed their recent date. Besides that, Chizuru reveals her intention to quit being a rental girlfriend. She explains that she's actually an actress, and a theater director has offered her a job. If she can pursue acting, Chizuru won't have to worry about her livelihood anymore. The next day, Chizuru got a call from a new client and went to meet them as arranged, but she was surprised to find out that the person who hired her was Mami. Meanwhile, at Kazuya's workplace, some guys started teasing Ruka. Hearing this, he remembered Chizuru's words about pursuing her dreams. So he decided not to pamper Chizuru anymore and to try to fall in love with someone who genuinely cares for him, like Ruka. Kazuya then took Ruka to a quiet room, intending to formalize their relationship since it was still in the experimental stage. But when he saw Mami and Chizuru passing by, he got distracted and forgot what he wanted to say. At that time, Kazuya was puzzled why Mami was with Chizuru and why they were there. He knew that Mami and Chizuru didn't have any contact, so he wondered if Mami already knew Chizuru's true identity. There, Kazuya tried to listen in on the conversation between the two girls and found out that his suspicions were true, that Mami already knew about the fake relationship between him and Chizuru. At that moment, Mami asked Chizuru to stop pretending to be Kazuya's girlfriend, because it was stopping Kazuya from dating someone real. She was tired of seeing Chizuru's fake smile, and Kazuya blamed himself for the mess. He felt Chizuru only became his girlfriend out of pity for him, and now she's suffering because of it. Not wanting to ignore the situation, Kazuya quickly followed the two girls. When they reached the bridge, he overheard their conversation again. This time, Chizuru wanted to know what Mami really thought about Kazuya. Kazuya had once told Chizuru that he wanted to make Mami happy, and that he couldn't easily forget about her. Chizuru was certain that Kazuya still had feelings for Mami, and asked her to consider Kazuya's feelings. Chizuru understands the value of love, especially since she's been in the same situation as a rental girlfriend. She tries to explain to Mommy that falling in love is hard, and doubts if Mommy has ever really considered Kazuya's feelings seriously. Chizuru believes that maybe Kazuya could make Mommy happy. But instead of calming Mommy down, this just annoys her more, as she thinks Chizuru is too involved in her and Kazuya's business. Despite appearing cold, Mommy is actually pondering over Chizuru's words. That evening, Mommy surprises Kazuya by calling him and saying she wants to talk. There she plans to ask Kazuya to be her boyfriend again, but with a twist that she just wants him to pretend to date her to deal with her strict parents. However, the problem shows up when Mommy asked Kazuya to meet her parents on the same day he usually hired Chizuru to pose as his girlfriend for his grandma. Meanwhile, Mommy already knew that Chizuru and Ichinose were the same person, but she didn't tell Chizuru about her plan to fake date Kazuya. Mommy was worried that Chizuru might develop feelings for Kazuya, so she asked Chizuru not to interfere if Kazuya fell in love. Since then, Chizuru started avoiding Kazuya and decided to quit being a rental girlfriend. She didn't want to be part of his life anymore, so she asked him to stop hiring her and ended their relationship. Sadly, Chizuru's sudden change in behavior left Kazuya confused. He thought Chizuru wouldn't leave him alone, but now it seems like she really hates him. The next day, Kazuya met Mommy's parents. Mommy's mom was nice, but her dad wasn't too friendly towards Kazuya. Then he spotted Chizuru with a customer. Suddenly, the talk with Mommy's parents got awkward, especially because her dad didn't say anything. At the same time, Kazuya couldn't stop thinking about Chizuru, who seemed tipsy and left with the guy. Suddenly, Mommy's dad asked Kazuya about his plans with Mommy and the perks of their relationship. Before he could respond, he noticed Sumi outside. He'd excused himself to check on her. Turns out, at that time, Sumi was looking for Chizuru because there was a mix-up with the agency, and the guy she was with got banned. There, Kazuya quickly noticed something off about Chizuru earlier, so he gave his number to Sumi in case Chizuru needed help and pointed out where she went. When he got back, he saw Mommy's dad had found out about her fake boyfriend and got really mad. Mommy's dad even slapped her because he wanted her to date someone he chose, but Mommy didn't want to. So she asked Kazuya to be her boyfriend. But Kazuya was more worried about Chizuru. Soon after, Asuni messaged him saying Chizuru was taken to a hotel by a customer. Hearing that, Kazuya decided to go find Chizuru, but the hotel wouldn't tell him the room number, so he had to figure it out himself. Shortly after, Kazuya checked each room one by one, but couldn't find Chizuru's room. Meanwhile, the man who took Chizuru to the hotel had bad intentions. He gave her sleeping pills and planned to do something awful while she was unconscious. Feeling time slipping away, Kazuya came up with a plan. He set off the hotel's alarm to wake Chizuru up. This startled the man, who tried to run, but Kazuya stopped him. In the end, Chizuru told the police what happened. She explained that the man drugged her and took her to the hotel without her consent. However, the man argued that he was just a customer who felt cheated by the rental girlfriend service. He claimed people like Chizuru needed to understand the pain they cause, but the police didn't buy his excuse. They understood her situation and took action against the perpetrator. Upon hearing the hurtful words directed at her, Chizuru remained silent, but Kazuya couldn't hold back his anger. He was furious to hear Chizuru being insulted in public. Kazuya made it clear that not all men think like the perpetrator. To him, meeting Chizuru was the best thing that ever happened to him. He believed any guy who met someone as wonderful as Chizuru would fall for her instantly. Despite everything, Chizuru still cared deeply about Kazuya's feelings and tried to help him find a solution to their problem. Kazuya stressed that everyone goes through tough times, including himself, Chizuru, and even Mommy, his ex-girlfriend. But they all kept pushing forward, never giving up until they found some light in the darkness. Kazuya stated that the perpetrator was just a coward who blamed others for his actions. He couldn't stand by and let the perpetrator insult Chizuru without understanding her struggles to find happiness. After the perpetrator was taken away by the police, Chizuru thanked Kazuya for helping her, even though he had plans with Mommy. There, Kazuya explained that he couldn't stand by when he saw Chizuru being mistreated, because he considered her his best friend, even though their relationship wasn't real. Touched by his words, Chizuru leaned her head on his shoulder. After that incident, Kazuya went back to his normal campus life. He realized he needed to accept his situation, even if all his dreams couldn't come true. On the other hand, Mommy, who saw Kazuya's efforts to protect Chizuru, started to see something special in him. Meanwhile, Ruka continued to enjoy being Kazuya's experimental girlfriend, and so Ni became less shy with his support. As for Chizuru, she kept her special bond with Kazuya a secret, but she slowly began to open up to him. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is when life gives you rental girlfriends, remember, never judge a relationship by its price tag. Because sometimes the best things in life are the ones you never expected to pay for, like love, friendship, and a fish pattern phone case.